Welcome back to class, dear students. In this lesson, I want to first, congratulate you the fact that you've gone this far in this course, and now you want to set up Web3 developer toolbox. What are the tools you will need as a Web3 blockchain or smart contract developer? So these are the basic things you need. It doesn't matter any blockchain you want to develop on. Usually, it doesn't really even matter like the programming language you're using or anything. They're just basic. And the reason why I'm doing this is because to help especially beginners. So you're like, okay, what do I need? These are just the basic things you need. Then every other one will be based on the blockchain ecosystem you are building for, the programming language you are using, and the specific tool. When you are building for game, it's different from when you are building just a website based something. So all those ones we're not going to it, but the basic Web3 environment you need, tools you need, is what we are going to focus on, and I will try as much as possible to get you set up and ready, especially for upcoming course on Web3 development, the front end, the middleware, and as we have discussed majorly when you are talking about that, the front end, the middleware, and the back end. So we all have those courses together on the program university, so you should check them out depending on when you are watching this, and they are all free. Now let's check back on this when we learn about to choose the appropriate operating system and how to install some of them and things like that. So what are the essential Web3 developer toolbox in your toolbox? So here are a list of essential tools needed for setting up a Web3 development environment, especially for beginners who are new to coding. So if you have been coding before, then you will likely have most of these tools. So usually they are just what you use in Web 2 with some exceptions. So it's still web development, though it might be Web3 decentralized. Now, the first thing I would like to talk about is actually operating system. So, when you look at the everything you do reside on an operating system. So if you don't get your operating system right, there could be issues. So you have Linux, you have Mac and Windows. So which is the best operating system for web developer or Web3 developer? I will say that my own something is Linux. Mac OS is also suitable for Web3 development if you have access to, but I know some of you taking the course might not be able to afford Mac OS, because Mac OS is not like your normal Windows that you see on almost any OEM devices. This is proprietary and you will have access to it only when you buy Apple. You understand? Product, so laptop like that, so which is usually at the high end, so you might not have access to that. And the best easy alternative, which is also open source, is Linux, and I use Ubuntu. There are a lot of other distro or distribution of Linux. You are free to try it, but you will always find it most and number one popular one is Ubuntu, and that's what I use to avoid headache for myself with compatibility issues with a lot of all these Web3 development tools. Now, I personally recommend Linux over Windows if you do not have Mac. So you can install Linux alongside your existing Windows OS, which is called dual booting. So that's another good thing about Linux. It's free, it's open source to install, to download, set up. If you can't, you can get an engineer to help you out. So you can now keep your Windows and still use Linux. So for me, like after using Windows for every task, including development, for about 14 years, I finally switched to Linux, Ubuntu for all my development tasks and most of my day-to-day activity, including creating this course that you are watching now on DPU. In early 2022, that was, I don't know when you'll be watching, that I switched, and I sincerely regretted why it took me so long to switch, because it ended years of struggling with incompatibility issues with a lot of Web3 development tools. I'm telling you, because those are part of the challenges. It was one of my students then that was taking, I think, smart contracts with vanilla solidity then, that once mentioned that, why don't I try Linux? And then I was like, okay, I was having Windows. It didn't like, okay, I could boot to just mention it. So I had that in mind. And then later, around early 2022, I got a laptop that was having dual discs, hard disks in it. So I just bought, when I bought it was having one hard disk. I just bought the second one, hard disk, and put Linux on it. But later on, I later discovered that I could have even done it on the single hard disk. And like I'm recording now, I'm recording on Linux Ubuntu. I'm recording purely on Linux Ubuntu. And that is on a dual boot of, I just got the laptop some months ago. It's a new HP laptop. I think this touchscreen, let me try and see the settings for you. If you see the settings, let me see. Good. You can see it when I come here. About, you can see it now. It's convertible screen touch, something memory 32 gig. So, and another thing so good about OS, this Linux OS, is that even if you have 4 gig, I'm telling you, it's more energy, RAM efficient, memory efficient than even Windows. So if you get 4 gigs, though I know at this age you should have nothing less than 8 gig, if not 16 gig at least. So, and you can see it, then 1 terabyte. So it's just one single hard disk, and I was able to partition it to make it 2 boots for both Windows that came with it, which was, I think, Windows 11, and then the other, even Windows 11, these hard disks come with all these encryption that Windows does now to make it harder for you to add other OS, or maybe when you're something lost or something, but yet it still works fine. So what I'm telling you in essence is that it works with whatever device you have, low end. You don't have to have this kind of high, new crazy configuration or something. So whatever it works with, it is what I've tested on it very well. So all those things are what I later discovered and regretted I didn't, because I tell you, it was like hell, stress on a lot, even a lot of Web3 projects. They will tell you this thing is only work on Linux or Mac. So, and for you, you need Linux, Windows subsystem for Linux. So I don't use that again. I use it then, it helps a bit more. But why use Linux box in Windows when I can use Linux separately? So in summary, in this aspect, I personally, based on my experience and what I'm using, I recommend Linux for your Web3 development or web development setup. So because you will see next why it's so important, because every other thing you'll be installing will be based on your OS. So if you have an OS that gives you issue, it complicates your Web3 development experience. I'm telling you, so you don't want to experience that. I've been through it. I later had to give up Windows when it comes to development. For eventually most of my work now, I even do it there. But if you still want to use Windows, you can be using it for your normal tasks, and then when you want to develop, you switch to Linux. Now you can install it. I try to include the official installation guide for these things so that you can go through how to set it up. It's much easier when you install it. You can use some things. I tried to do the video at the point, maybe later, and I think some things were not working to, and it was stressing me, so I just dropped it. But I do install it myself. Just download it, about 4 gig or 5 gig or something, then take an hard disk about 8 gig, use something like there's a particular OS, you can go it or research it or something that help you to know, or ask GPT or any other AI, help you to turn it to a bootable drive. Just 8 gig flash drive is okay. Then you are able to now put it back and then you follow the instruction and it help you install it alongside your Windows. So now the second one is terminal. I know a lot of you are new, so that's why for those of you that you can skip this, but I know I'm talking to a lot of people that never coded before, so I got to forget about whatever I've known and think like them. So you are confused, like, okay, now you have an operating system, what do you need to get started? The next thing you need is what is called terminal. This terminal is so important, and this is what they call terminal. You can see it, you would have seen it in some coding tutorial you have tried to watch, where they will tell you put a command. What is command? Because it's an instruction. So once you start using this like everything you do on your system, you can do it through this. But this like the low level way, and that's why it's only programmers that use it. Usually normal people already have user interface for almost everything they need on their system, and that's why one of the way Windows shine when it comes to graphical user interface. So when you look at this now, you need to put code to check a lot of things. You can use it to create file. For example, I can check my file on the system. You can see it. I have my desktop, document, download. This same thing, I have graphical interface I can use for it. You can see it if I bring it up. You see, home, desktop, Windows. You see all those things like that. So, and I can go inside this desktop now to see what is there by just doing CD into desktop. Does it have it? You can see it now. That is inside the desktop, and I can. It's like show the list of what's there. So only this, and you can see it here. So that tells you how powerful this terminal is. This single tool, I'm telling you, it's very, very essential. And if you are on Windows, this is part of the essential reason why I'm saying Linux. If you're on Windows, the PowerShell or some other terminal that comes along with default window usually have issues working with a lot of all these web development tools, including Web3. So if you even use WSL, you may have access to a terminal that will be a bit better, but I tell you, you have a lot of issues. So you don't want to go to stress installing something that ought to install once and then is having issues. So keep that in mind. This is another thing. The good news about this is that you don't need to install it. It comes as default, pre-bundled with your operating system, Linux. The terminal comes with it already. So once you have that ready, you will soon start seeing why this is super important, because a lot of every other thing you'll be installing, you'll be using the terminal. So the next thing we want to do is the third one, which is GitHub. I won't talk much about this GitHub because there's a lesson coming up after this, I think, that I've dedicated to GitHub. So just know GitHub is a version control system to track changes in your code base. Git installation guide, you can have the official installation. Then GitHub, an online platform to host and manage your Git repo. So this GitHub, as you would have heard about it, say send it to your GitHub or send me your GitHub something. We'll still discuss more. This is where you will keep your code. If I do GitHub, this is where you push your code. One of those things, it's secure your code for you in terms of if you are working on a code and you have it on GitHub, you can easily collaborate with others. Even if you change your system, you move elsewhere, or you do a lot of other things, you can easily get access to it again. So that's the importance of that. Then another one, next one is the Node.js. So this Node.js, normally if you want to run JavaScript on your browser, you will need a kind of environment that is set up in your browser to run the JavaScript. So a kind of JavaScript now run inside your system is what is called that Node.js, which now allow us to run a lot of JavaScript and JavaScript related projects, packages, and things like that. So you will need that as well. To install it, you can go through in the course. You have all the links there on the. I recommend you use NVM, which is Node Version Manager. I use that majorly because one of the challenge you have is when you are dealing with a lot of projects. Project A may use Node version 20, and then project B will use version 21. So to be installing them, uninstalling, or doing all those may cause you issues. So when you have Node Version Manager, you can swap, like, okay, this project I want to do now, I need to work with Node 20, Node this, and it will do it for you. For example, if I pull this up and say NVM, I think current, let me try that. So you can see it's telling me this is the version. If I say NVM, that's the Node version, I've installed it, follow the instruction guide there. I think LS, let's see. You see it now. These are the version. I have 18, I have 20.6, I have 20, and I have 20.9, and a lot of other versions are there. So I can easily swap, like, for example, now if the project I want to work on says they need version 18, so I can use NVM use 18, and it will swap. Oh, sorry. NVM use, not us, use 18. You can see it now using Node 18. If I check back for current again, like I did before, you will see that it's no more the previous. Now you can see this, that we have the version 20 here, but now we are using 18, and if I again see the list, it will tell you now that the default is this green. You can see it. So that's how useful this can be. Let me take it back to use 20 so I don't forget. 20.9.0. So I have it back again. Let me do LS, and you see that this is the green. It has now moved from the 18. So that's the advantage why I encourage you to have not just the Node.js, but have the, if you have it installed, you should always confirm, like Node, I think V. So this is the version. You see the same version I'm managing here. So you can see them all here as well. So once you go through, you can follow the guide to install the NVM and everything in here. The next one, once we have that done, the fifth one is the package manager. So your package manager is when you are developing, there are a lot of different packages that you'll be using. So it's like when you have like a mobile phone, maybe Android or iOS, you have apps that you run, and those apps run on a lot of other things that must be on that phone for it to work. So the same is the package. If you want to do a lot of apps are there, you will need those package managers. So for us to install that, there are different to manage those things, their installation and some things, you need package manager. So just like you have your the iOS app market to manage installation, checking security of the app. So the same like this. Now we have the popular one to be npm. You would have seen it when they say install something, you see them first saying npm this, npm that, install this or this. So usually npm, but there's like an advance of it which is pnpm. I prefer this because it's efficient, fast, and I prefer it. For example, when you are working with a project which you will still learn, just keep those things in mind. You may have like 1,000, 200, 1,000 or more packages that make up that project. You understand? So you can imagine when you do project A, you install those things, you use it. Then you do project B, you have to reinstall it again, do project C. No, the package pnpm, that is like npm and usually yarn as well. But pnpm is so different in that when you do A and you install like, let's say 500 packages, everything has been installed. Once you get to B and install, need maybe 100 or 200 of that same package, it will not reinstall them again, to just make use of those you already have, saving you your hard disks and a lot of things, and time and all those things, including your data and more. So that's why I prefer using pnpm. So, but I advise you to have the 3 installed, and if you want to install it, you can always go to the installation guide. That's why I've linked to the official installation guide. You'll be able to install them. You can see it using standalone script on Windows, on Linux. So using pnpm. So usually once you install Node.js, that pnpm comes with it. So you can use the npm to now install the pnpm. Then you can see what I'm saying now. pnpm install this and that. So I use pnpm instead of this npm. So once you are done, you should be able to check the version. I don't have the code here. Let me try if that's work with it. pnpm v. So you see it now is installed. npm v. You see that each of them, I have them. Then you also have the yarn. Let me see if the yarn will do v as well. So you can see it. So I have the 3 of them. Once you install them, if you are like, okay, how will I know if they are there? These are the things you can use. Once you run things like this, you'll be able to confirm. Once you run them and it's saying not available, not found, it's telling you have not installed. So follow the official instruction to install them. The next one is the blockchain CLI. So once you have this, you discover, in fact, these first 1 to 6 are the major basic things you will need for any web development you are doing. I'm telling you, including Web 2 and Web 3. So with this, every other thing can now split from there. Depending on the kind of project you are working on, may now depend on the packages, the tools and things like that. And we call some things CLI tools. That's command line interface. That's what this terminal is called, command line interface. So there are some tools that are built, for example, for Solana, that when you have it installed, you can just use some command in this Solana, in this your terminal, and then it bring, for example, if I do Solana balance, check it. Yeah, it shows 124. So don't be excited. This is testnet. It's a free. So for you to confirm, I can get more right away. If I do Solana airdrop 4. So this 4, so presently now we're worth about 400 USD or so. Solana airdrop 4. When rate limit reach, what? So you can see it now that instantly I was previously having 124 and now it's 128. If I do the same balance, you can see that straight away I have 128 balance. So all these things are based on the blockchain. So for Solana, I have a full setup guide for you already. If you go through it, everything like the Node.js that you need to install, everything has already been there step by step for you. So just make sure you follow the instruction, you go through, it will take you straight. You can see setting up Rust, Linux, Rust, and all those things you need, including the Solana. So with that, you'll be able to have what I have now and run it. So just make sure, that's why I have all those links, so that you can follow them step by step. So that's for it. And if you're also working with Ethereum or any other blockchain, they also have their CLI and the instruction to follow. Then the next one is wallet. Wallet is what you use to connect, to know your balance, connect to the blockchain. So we'll also discuss more about this. You don't need to set it up now. Usually when you set up, follow this, you would have set up like a Solana wallet, for example, for development. So other aspects as well, we'll discuss it in the coming lesson. So integrated development environment, so which is VS Code. You need VS Code. Your VS Code, which is this, you can follow, you can see it. You can see this where you will be able to write your code, organize it, and do a lot of things. You'll be using it a lot. So if you need that as well, you just follow this and install it. You see a lot of them require you to run some command in the terminal. That's why I said these are the basic essential tools. Once you have that, some people like text editor like Atom or Sublime. I use VS Code, and VS Code is more popular, and a lot of all these tools you will need. So then you need your normal modern web browser. I, at least for now, say we recommend whatever browser you like. Also try to get Chrome. Chrome has proven to perform well to support developers. So make sure you have it when developing. You can still use any other something. I'm not advocating for Chrome to leave those ones. But when you are developing, to get the best of results and be sure what you are getting, you had better go with this. Then blockchain network, you deal it. Testnet, like this one I showed you now, is testnet. It's not real. Nobody will like just say, give me 4 souls, which each soul at the time I did video was about 100 USD or more than. So that's about 400. Just give me free like that. No, it's not. It doesn't. It's not a free money machine. So it's only on testnet. It's free because they know you are using it for development. You can't sell it for real money. You understand? That's why you can see me have this in a lot. I wish. Naturally, I'm not a kind of wish person anyway, because I believe just wishing doesn't change anything. So, but let's assume this is what I have in the mainnet, for example. This would have been a huge money, almost worth about 12,000 now or something like that. But worth nothing. Is just the only worth is that I can use it to develop on smart contract for testing before the mainnet. That's all. So that's why you can see it, and I can request it anytime. So we'll discuss about them and how to switch. And there are some other development framework as well, like Truffle for Ethereum, EVM, and IDE, like browser-based one like Remix. They have Anchor for Solana and some other ones. Any other blockchain you also work on, you will see it there as well. So that's it. These are true from my experience. At least some years I've been in 2017, I entered into Web3. So since then to whatever year you are watching, and maybe about a year, 2 or 3 years, I then go in deep into start fully, I think something 2020 or so, into Web3 development fully. So since then, you can imagine till now when you'll be watching. So I found these two to be basic that you will need, and other ones will be based on what you are working on. So that's it for this video. I see you in others where we'll continue to discuss more. If you need support, remember the best place to post is as a comment. Not on Discord, you link with others, you ask general question, but specific lesson question that you need me to respond, you had better ask through the comment, and don't ask this question in another lesson, specific question for the lesson it fits in, so other students will benefit thereafter as well. So that's it for this. See you in the next IMS on Postgate of the Programming University. Keep the programming spirit alive, and always do good to humanity and nature with your knowledge and programming skill are not evil. Thank you and peace.